8.
You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hi, everybody. It's Miss Jen. I'm so happy to see you guys here on The Experience. This is Talkin Shop, where I'm going to give you guys all the heads up you need to get all the cool books into your pull boxes this week. I know that probably you guys have seen all about this book that we're going to talk about coming up on your social media feeds. I've seen it quite a few times, and I was super intrigued. I was very thankful that Oni Press reached out to me, and probably Laura also, so that I could actually be able to talk to them, because I just think that this book is totally all y'all's jam. This week is going to be a little interesting because I'm actually recording the second half of this interview segment tomorrow. So there's going to be posted at a different time an interview with Aaron Douglas, who you guys might know as Chief Terrell from the Battlestar Galactica show. He's got a cool new book coming out called Borealis. And we're going to have a cool giveaway at the very end of the show. So share with your friends so everybody knows to come and to be here for that. And thank you guys for your support as we plowed through and got our subscription numbers up to 2,500. Help us keep going. All right. I will be back in just a second and we'll get after this. Everybody, I see Mr. Easy's already here in the house. Super excited to see you. Thank you for your support as always. I would like everyone to please welcome from all the way over in London. It's totally a different time zone there. There it's like nighttime, 10 o'clock there. So give extra love to Lara Pickle.
Hello. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Super excited to see you. So seriously, I was not fibbing when I said that your book and image just come through my feed many, many, many times. So I don't know if that's because you're sharing so much or if Oni is doing a good job or the publishers in general are getting it out there. But it has been an amazing amount of, look at this, you're probably interested. They're doing a great job.
I think so too. I'm very pleased with all of the big promotion and how much they're investing. They just really feel like they believe in the comics. So I'm just very grateful for that.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to know you a little bit. Okay, so I was really intrigued. I see that comic books aren't necessarily your only huge talent. You do so many awesome things in the creative world, including working in, looks like, shows and just reaches to all across the entertainment universe, it looks like. Was this something that you were aiming for all your life, or was it just something you did a project and it led to so many more projects, now you're sucked in forever?
I think my story is a little bit I just went with the flow during my whole life. So I grew up reading manga and comics, and I had this very romantic idea of how cool it would be to just have to just eat ramen through and through up until making your deadline and just not sleeping. I don't know why that was romantic for me, but it was. But then it was a little bit hard because I had a really hard blow to my comic career at a very young age, because me and my friend did this comic stripe, and we inked it and everything, and we were it was a great story. I would say that I still have the pages back home in Spain, but it was terrible. It was really awfully drawn. I mean, I was 12 years old, and we sent it via post to the publisher in Spain. We obviously never heard back, But then, like we thought, oh, this might be a little bit hard to get. And like then when I went to uni, because I was very keen on to like, I don't really know what I want to do with my career. I just know that I want to draw for a living, because like that's like the main thing that I'm good at. Um, so I discovered animation there, and then I realized I wanted to be an animator, and then I was an animator. I actually worked on on a middle budget short film that Canal Plus was like producing, and I discovered that I hated every second of it. Like I was
Like the
not
process
patient.
of it, that it was
Sorry?
like the process of it, that it was like create, 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 create.
No, I just was not patient and not very good at all at animating. I just wasn't. I really wasn't good at it. And I guess like a lot of people like have a natural talent, like sort of like sense of timing, right? And a lot of people build that up by practicing and just like having the patience to just like get into it. I had neither of those things. So I decided to do backgrounds, because I really liked doing environments more than anything, and it was just very relaxing to me. So I did like an entire like 180, and I rebuilt my entire portfolio, and then I got a job, and then I just like switched between doing backgrounds and then like visual development, and then I was super lucky because I got like some following on social media, and then some people like met me there, and then they were like, oh, we're doing this video game, do you want to like, so it was like a full like set of circumstances that it was just, I think it was just like went with the flow and like what it felt right for me at the time. um so yeah, that's about it. But I'm like super grateful, because even with like the publishing industry, I never expected actually to create a comic. Young me would have been like, what? And I can tell you now, the not sleeping for the deadline, it's not romantic at all. And it's just yeah, I think it's just something that really happened because I tried to like get into the publishing world, and fortunately I got an agency, and they saw the potential in this idea, and they went ahead with this. And then it just happened that I was lucky enough that I got like the publisher to vouch for that idea, and then I got even luckier because it like, Hachette bought the rights to publish it in French, and then only bought the rights to publish it in English. And then I was like, oh, do you want to translate? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I don't know, like I just feel like it's just been like a set of circumstances.
So okay, so your journey in this way, I hear quite often from people that it's just being willing to keep trying all the different paths and
Mm.
just being willing to say yes to it, and then they ended up finding things that they really really loved. It just sounds like what you did.
Yeah, I mean it's really cool, because I think I have the sort of brain that just like needs to be stimulated very often. So I always try to do a big variety of things all the time. But yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that you started out really loving comic books and manga. So what were your favorites when you were growing up?
Oh, well, I mean, I was into manga, just manga specifically, up until I was like, I don't know, like 16 or 17 or something. And
Okay.
then I got into, I read a lot more about like, you know, like Western comics that I really like. And I got to meet more artists. So I was a really big fan of Rumiko Takahashi. Like she was one of my biggest inspirations and still is to this day. Like I adore that woman. I would kiss the floor she just lands on. She's so good. And she's just such a great storyteller, and I was obsessed with Inuyasha,
Yeah.
and I was also obsessed with Full Metal Alchemist because that story is like a 1,000 out of 10 to me. Like it's my holy grail of good storytelling. Um, and it was just very inspiring to me because obviously, like I was like, oh, these ladies, they've made it big. I can do it too. I don't know. So it's just like very cool. And then I got to like just meet like just like know a lot more about like like other artists. Like we have a lot of really good comic artists in Spain, and I was really moved. In particular, there's this comic by author called Paco Roca, and he's created this really cool comic that's about an old man that has Alzheimer. They made a movie about it as well. It's truly beautiful, very
You're gonna make me
sad, but
cry. Just
it's
the subject matter.
honestly, yes, it's a tissue grabber, but it's so nice. It's such a good story, and he always creates really good stories. So I was just very delved into like his world, and I got to meet like loads of other creators, and yeah, I don't know, like it just like started changing my perspectives on like the sort of stories that I would like to tell.
So, okay, this is coming from a place of ignorance. So please forgive me if you're the person that you the most idolize isn't available to ever talk to because they've passed on. But is it possible for you to meet your hero? And would you be able to like hold yourself together if the opportunity arose?
Hmm. I would probably melt down and have like a full on just like panic attack, maybe. I think because I think I admire like different people based on different things. So it's very hard for me to like pinpoint one specific person that I would just admire like overall. Um I think there's like yeah, like for example, I really admire Naoko Takeuchi in particular because like she's done like I love magical girls a lot, and she's just so good with that, and I admire specifically she does a lot of like fashion illustrations in Sailor Moon, and I'm like a big fashion nerd. So just like but I also like really admire like Rumiko Takahashi. She's made it so big in the industry that's been mainly just populated by male uh creators. So it's just I don't know, like there's like different things from different people. um and I would probably just lose my shit every single time, like if I did that. Just yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I love that you still have that about yourself. Like it's that you're like, I will try to be cool, but I won't be.
Yeah, and also I have this thing that I like to call verbal diarrhea, which is when I get really nervous, I just start blabbering and just like start talking with no filter whatsoever. And then sometimes I say really weird things, and then they just like come out of my mouth before like I can process them in my head, and it's just like sometimes I say really like awkward things, and then I think about it afterwards and I'm like, why did I say that?
Do you have like out of body experiences where you're like, like watching yourself do it and say, who is that person talking? And why can't I
Yes.
get them to stop?
Well, yes, because like there was this instance that happened. This happened to me, and I was like, as I was saying those things, I was thinking, "Stop! Why aren't you stopping? Stop! This is so weird."
And yet the world is still spinning and everyone's still working.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I'm never mean or anything. It's just like weird things, and people just look at me like, "What?" Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about a book that's coming out this week called "I Feel Awful, Thanks," and
Yay.
it sounds adorable. And like sometimes when you hear about books like this that delve into kind of like mental health a little bit and reaching out for help when you need it and feeling awkward and not fitting in and all those things, that sometimes they're heavy-handed. And I have a feeling yours is very not heavy-handed and is just wonderful. I cannot wait to read it. So what was the inspiration for this?
Well, the whole thing started because I mean, I kept drawing like little comics for myself for like, you know, for just because drawing and writing for me is something that really helps me out because I have aphantasia. So I really need to like put it down and make it physical so that I can see and understand my own thoughts. And then I was in a bit of like a really rough time in my life in 2020. I'm guessing like most of us. So I have had like a really long time that was I was dealing with depression. So I finally decided to seek out to a therapist. And as I was uh like talking to her, I was like processing my own thoughts and the sessions and the things that I was trying to understand that she would say to me. So I create like this little um series of very short comics. And then when I signed with my agency at the time, I I like send them to them and I was like, yeah, well, like I did these. I don't think I've ever like actually published them anywhere because they're sort of personal. I've never like, I don't know, like I don't really know what to do with them. And then my agent at the time, he saw the potential and he was like, have you ever thought of doing anything with these? And I was like, yeah, I was thinking of maybe doing like a compilation or something. And then he um urged me to actually just like try to find like a narrative point to it. And it sort of like made me think a lot about it, and then I just like sat down and it just sort of came very naturally to me. So that's how it all started, really.
So how did you decide on a main character who is a witch?
Well, I just always really had a soft spot for soft magic, which is, when like magic is sort of like on like a mundane sort of situation. I don't think there's a lot of stories with that, and I always like really love that. But also, I'm a very big fan of analogies, and I love visual storytelling a lot. Like, I mean, obviously I do that a lot in when I work in animation and games, and a lot of it is just presenting within imagery the story in itself, and I really love doing that aside of just the writing. And I really thought that if I used like an alternative world, it would help me break a little bit the barrier of how serious the topic it is, and just maybe hopefully um just find like a more soft uh I wouldn't say endearing, but maybe just like approachable way to put such a serious topic into display. And when I was thinking about it, just made more and more sense for me to do that. So that's why I ended up choosing to do witches. There's also the factor that I really love, witches, and just like it is just very fun to draw them.
I didn't know if there was like a a connection to maybe what's that awesome manga, Witch Hat Atelier? I didn't know if it was something you were like unconsciously like.
Yeah, I actually never read that. It is on my list of mangas to read, but I just haven't like I have such a hard time to like find time to actually read, unfortunately.
I feel your pain. As everyone says, you own a comic book shop. All you do is sit around and read comic books. Is that correct? No.
Yeah.
I mostly alphabetize and organize. So this is really cool that it's so what year did it come out in the original language? It was all in Spanish first, correct?
Yes. So in Spain, it came out in Spain and Latin America, I think, in 2021. I think. I might be wrong. I think no, I think it was either 2021 or 2022. No, I think it was 2022. Sorry. I am like really flaking here, but I think it was 2022 thing.
And then was it something as simple as Oni approached the Hachette and said they would like to have an English version, or Hachette, did they kind of shop it around? Because it just seems like it's a perfect fit for us.
I'm not really sure how that worked. I think actually my agency got in touch with Oni because Hachette didn't really like Hachette just only bought the rights to publish in French. I don't think they have anything to do with Oni.
Oh, okay.
In this specific case, but I could be wrong. Like I don't really know what happened behind the scenes with this. I was just told, oh, Oni wants to buy the rights, and I was like, oh, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So a long way from being 12 and sending in your hand drawn with my bestie scripts, and then maybe like, how about this?
Yeah.
How weird would that be if someone asked you to like, okay, I can see there's potential here. Rework this.
Oh boy. No. I think it's I think it's a product of its time. It's still funny to read, but I think a lot of it has to do with nostalgia. Mm-hmm. That those stories would have to have a lot of work done to like actually make sense, because they were just like weird, like nonsense comedy sort of thing. Does that make sense?
12 and he had to be there.
Yeah, and it was you also have to take into account it was 12 years old girl humor. So yeah.
I'm kind of a 12-year boy inside, so it probably would be me. So do you have any more like graphic novel projects coming up that we can look forward to?
Well, I am currently working on my on a pitch for my next graphic novel that I want to do. And I'm really hoping to be able to find a publisher that's like wants to purchase it. But I'm very excited about this one because it also explores some sort of like mental health topic. In this case in particular, it's a generational trauma. Because and specifically generational trauma that is passed on from mothers to daughters, because it's just been forever. It's just been such an interesting topic to me, because I mean, I don't know if you know this, but apparently when someone goes through trauma, it can actually physically change your DNA, and if you have children, they can inherit that DNA. So for example, in a lot of cases, anxiety and depression can be genetical.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but also there's a lot of different factors, and in particular relationships. I mean, I'm guessing like everyone here must like realize this, right? But usually mother-daughter relationships are very complex, very particularly complex. Yes. And it is because of this. So I'm just like going through the phase of just documenting myself a lot and talking to a lot of friends that have had issues with their parents going through this generational trauma, and them having like loads of cathartic moments here. Yeah.
All right, I totally look forward to that because if any book that makes me feel things, I love so much. All right, stick around for just a second because we're gonna let Jay give away a cool prize, and I don't know if we can. Jay, can we include Laura in this choosing? Can she spin the wheel?
We are actually having issues. We're trying to figure that out right now. So let's just keep going.
Okay. So who do we have on here? We got Mr. Easy's on, Cool Gamer's on, Eddie's on, Lorena's on. So looks like we got at least 4 people that are interested in such a thing. You tell me when you're ready, Jay. Otherwise, we're just going to keep on talking. This is why giveaways are at the end of the show. Oh, that's so awesome. So what? So I was just talking to someone a minute ago that our local weather is kind of gotten to that part where it's just like it is multi-personality, where it's like we're gonna be really cold and then rainy, and then we're gonna drop every pollen from every tree, and then we're gonna get hot, today. So do you have a lot of crazy weather where you live?
Yeah, London is crazy. I mean, it's just we have this thing that's very funny. We like to call fake spring. So essentially, it's like it looks like it's gonna get warmer and like sunnier, like around about this time a year. This time came a little bit early. And then you can see like the flowers blossoming, and you're like, oh my god, spring is here. And then suddenly the temperatures drop and it's all miserable and it rains a lot, and it's like, for fuck's sake, it was nice, come on. So yeah, so now we're like in that period where it like went back to being miserable. So I'm only hoping that, in a couple of weeks or something like that, it's actually going to start feeling like spring is coming. But yeah, it's been quite cold these days and just very miserable outside with loads of rain. And even my cat, she's like, she wants me to be like,
She slid in behind you earlier.
oh yeah, yeah, she like comes to me and she brings me to the door because we have a garden. And she's like, make it stop, I want to go outside. And I'm like, sweetheart, I can't make the rain stop. And then she gets so upset and offended that I can't. Like, what does it mean I can't?
So I had friends that lived near us for a couple of years. Like they moved for work, and they lived a lot of their life in different UK countries and or European countries. And they said that they don't understand Americans at all because it'll be a beautiful day outside and we'll be inside, right? Because we sit around in the air conditioning. And for them, they were like, if there is a day when it is not overcast and raining, everyone goes outside because they never know when another one's going to happen.
Yeah.
Where you live?
Well, that happens mainly in the north of Europe, and especially like in like the northern countries. That's not that much of a thing in like southern countries. Like, people didn't do that in Spain. We have loads of sun. Yeah, but here it is true. It is true. It is like practically impossible to like have a bit of grass in any park because like everyone and their mom are out just to enjoy the bits of sun.
Just trample it.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite crazy. And actually, another thing that like these things are a little bit of a cultural shock to me, to be honest with you. Like, even like I've been living in this country since 2018, and it's still a shock to me that every time I see it. But like, there's like fountains in some parks and squares and stuff, and when it's like just slightly warm, all the people and their children, they're going to start just like taking off their shoes and just going into the water, and it's like, it's cold, what? Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, guys, did we figure out our thing? Jay's like, no, typing words.
Giveaways are at the end of the show, but your next guest is here.
Oh, okay. I did not know I had a second guest today. I apologize. Thank you so much, Lara. I'm so glad to have you on. I'm super excited to be able to read this awesome book. And you guys should go out to your LCSs and tell them that you want a copy for your polls and or have them order it for you so you don't miss out on this awesome thing, and let them know that you want everything else that Lara makes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Hope you have a lovely rest of the time.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. All right, stick around, everybody. I'll be right back with our next guest.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find the link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
Everybody, and welcome back. To answer your question, Castle, it was a book called I Feel Awful, Thanks, by Oni Press. Really awesome book. Lara does really amazing art and tells a great story. Comes out from Oni Press this week. All right, welcome to my next guest. According to them, hey, it's Eli. Uh-oh. Eli's gone dark. Eli is going to come to us from an undisclosed location. He's under protection from the Govs. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Eli, just pop out and then pop back in again. It worked for me today. There's been some really crazy stuff going on with StreamYard, so just close out and then come back on. This is what happens. Technology.
Well, Jay and I are back now, but we're still waiting on Eli.
Perfect.
But I think I'm going to go ahead and announce giveaway canceled.
Oh, no work?
Given the fact that StreamYard is broken and their technical service is as slow as molasses to respond to why is it broken, how long will it be broken, we're going to go ahead and cancel all the giveaways for today.
It acknowledges that it's broken, though?
Well, not until I started screaming at them, no.
Oh, don't scream at them. That's so mean.
Well, you're trying to give it away, and they're trying to go, can I get the name of your account so I can look into your settings? No, I'm trying to give something away. Why is it broken?
Just do it on your phone. Pull up the app.
It's the whole giveaway system is broken.
Oh. Who owns the giveaway system? That's something we could chat about. Who
StreamYard.
created such a wonderful thing?
It's StreamYard. Well, Mr. Easy-Go-Lucky, you can't win anyway. You won yesterday.
How about names in the hat? He's just coming up with solutions.
Right,
You
he's
know
a
they
problem
can't win.
solver.
He's
Here
gonna
we
be the
go.
solution
Speaking of
person.
problem solvers.
Hey there, sorry about that.
Hello, Shocky, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Sorry I didn't. This is what happened. Last week, I went away, or 2 weeks ago, I went away to Comics Pro, spent way too little time sleeping and way
Right.
too much time hanging out and talking to people, and then came back with a beautiful case of COVID. So I'm just now recovering.
Sorry to hear that.
It's broken,
It's
100%
okay.
broken.
Yeah. Joey, my PR guy, he let me know, I think it was an hour and a half ago that I was going to be on. So we're in the same boat.
So this is awesome.
We
This
are
is how
we
we're
are
in the lightning
super
round, get
prepared.
to know you. Eli, how
Yep.
long have you been doing comic books? Tell us your origin story.
So I've loved comics since I was a kid. At first, I wanted to draw them, but I figured out I wasn't super talented at drawing them. But I always had good stories in mind. So when I was in college, I would, that's when I started writing, and I figured out how to write a script and everything like that. Got to the point where I felt cool. I felt like good enough submitting something, and was able to be one of the winners of the Mad Cave's talent search in around 2018. Got to work with them on a book, and then immediately after doing that, with the artist that I worked on that book with, we created the Greylock together. So been doing it a few years, just trying to write as many books as I can.
Okay, so you have a pretty awesome origin story, because a lot of people don't realize until pretty late in life that they have a talent. It looks like you, at least in college, already knew, which is awesome. Were you in college for anything even remotely related? Because
Absolutely not.
I love hearing this. Are you an actual lawyer or?
No, I'm a counselor at a juvenile detention center, so not even anything like remotely related to writing.
So you're a real life superhero, is what you're telling me right now.
I am trying to help those young men as best as I can.
It is, to me, a super heroic thing, because a lot of people like complaining about the nonsense that kids get into, but not a lot of people are willing to come up with a solution for them. So
Right. Yeah.
Were you a crazy kid yourself?
I was. It's what makes me, able to relate to them so much, as I was a crazy kid. Yeah.
Okay, so here I've always wondered about this rule. So if you're counseling kids, is it like an unwritten rule that you don't share about your past so that you can remain an authority figure, or is it better to like be real with them and say, I was you once?
I would say it depends on the scenario. You got to realize that there are some kids that, as soon as you do that, they're going to use that as ammunition against you, which, there are plenty of kids like that, because they'll get defensive, just based on the trauma that they've experienced, and they'll just spew that back out at you. And it depends on how far you process that trauma that you share with them, because I've seen it in the past where another counselor will say something, and then a kid will spew something back out, and they get, that triggers them all over again. And it's just like, if you haven't processed it, then you shouldn't share it. But
It's like, thank you. You brought me back into my own trauma.
right. I'll do it sparingly. I won't really delve into it that much unless it's a category that, like, it's an area where, like, I can speak it to them, like if they're specifically asking advice about something, and I can be like, hey, here's what I did. I don't recommend it, or, kind of like cautionary tale kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you draw on as more like inspiration your experiences doing counseling?
Somewhat, yeah. The story of the Greylock, just in general, came from just me working with kids that have been, either on probation, the other side of the law, for so long. I worked with a good friend of mine who's a priest now, and we would have conversations about how much these kids loved superhero movies. And when you got kids that are on probation for, assault, or, possession of a controlled substance and all these things, and you're watching a superhero movie where, this guy in this costume is like breaking up this drug deal and stuff like that, you kind of got to wonder, like, are you seeing yourself, because a lot of people, they connect with the superhero. They're like, like that's their end character. But sometimes you got to wonder, is like, who's your end character there?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to create a character who, for some people, because nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to be a perfect person ever. But I wanted to create a character that for some people, it's a relatable end character because he's not a perfect person and has by no means led a perfect life.
So Greylock, is it aimed at a specific kind of reader, or do you feel like it's for just anybody?
I feel like it can be for anybody. Mainly, my target demographic was like young Black readers. That's my experience. That was, that's the kind of that's the kind of audience that I just generally end up talking to. It's a community I'm from, so that was my target demographic. But I think that he is a character that can be related to by anybody.
Well, that's perfect. Okay, so that's not the book that you did with Mad Cave, though, correct?
No, I got to work on Hellfire to Quinn with Adigun Ilhan and Jay Sandlin. They created a great thing. It's a fun story.
You're gonna laugh really, really hard. We're a family-friendly store, which we carry all kinds of books that are not family-friendly, by the way. But
right.
We just kind of like, that's our our forward-facing. And for every book that has even slightly potty word titles, we come up with new names.
Yeah.
So it was always Heckfighter Quinn.
Heckfire Quinn.
Heckfighter.
That's great. Heckfighter. That's great.
Fighting heck,
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. I was gonna say, yeah, the Greylock is full of potty words. So yeah.
Love it. Yeah, you have to have something for everybody, because I really have found that as long as an adult is involved, that I don't really think there's any really terrible books for any age.
Right.
There was a 6-year-old the other day that was walking around holding Cult of Dracula, and his dad was like, I was like, oh baby, that might be too old for you. And his dad was like, oh no, she loves horror.
You got some kids like that. They're just like, they're locked onto it.
Exactly. It's like, you like spooky pictures? Okay, I got it. So, okay, we're talking about a specific book this week. Is it on Kickstarter right now?
It's in comic shops. Issue 1 released a couple months ago. Issue 2 released last week. So issue 2 of the Greylock is in comic shops. So if people either want it or want to, put in their, pull list or anything like that, they can. I think it's a fantastic story. No, it's a great book. Me and Adigun, my co-creator, we put a ton of our heart and soul into it. Tried to make it as good of a book as it can be.
Okay, so do you have envision for this series? Is it like a mini series, or do you have it designed to go long? Do you have more room for it?
So the only thing that would limit it is if it makes a buck, essentially. That's what unfortunately in comics. Unfortunately in comics, like, that's the make or break for a lot of series, which it sucks. It always sucks when you mix art with business, and unfortunately comics is both. But me and Adigun, we've talked about a second volume. The first volume, this arc that's being released right now, it's 6 issues. Hope to get it collected into a trade paperback, and then if that makes enough money, if everybody's happy of like how it ended up, then we'll definitely tell more stories. I definitely got more in the tank, and so does Adigun. It doesn't hurt that there's a TV deal potentially on the table.
What?
So yeah, Adigun and I got approached by the people at Second Act Entertainment. I believe our publisher released a statement on that about how there's a TV deal in the works, and so that's always exciting, to create stuff to pitch around to those studios and everything. It's always it's cool, but it's also intimidating.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a part of comic book creation that I've always been super intrigued by, and I know it's different for every single one. That like there are companies out there that um, regular readers for some reason have pegged as being like these are just IT farms. And then there are people I feel like genuinely they just like only had in mind that what they were making was for comic books and for comic books only. And when this happened, it like blew their mind. Where do you fit in there?
So I had no intention of making it a TV show. I don't know if you've seen the comic, but it would be incredibly expensive. And this is not like, okay, obviously if people want to make it into a TV show, I'm of course going to get behind that person fully. But the best part about comics is you can do whatever you want as long as the artist is willing to draw it and you're not overtaxing,
Right.
your co-creators. But no, I mean the guys at Second Act, they were, they're very much so a creators first kind of company. They approached me and Adagoon when the first issue released, because one of them is like, they're both writers, first and foremost, and they're comic book fans first and foremost. So they saw it and they liked it, and they're like, this could definitely be something that we could turn into a hit TV show. And hey, if that works towards drawing people towards the book, then absolutely. And if we can turn it into something that more people can be exposed to the moral of the story and the allegories of the story, then absolutely. I have no problem getting the message of the story out there, because that's what I think is what it's about.
It's like a very healthy relationship that they've got the right point of view for what they want to do. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Yeah.
So give everybody just kind of like a general idea of what the story is about.
Okay. So the Greylock, he's a social outcast. He was physically branded a criminal by the Houses of Magi, which is this overarching magical government. And the Greylock lives in this world of all these magical creatures in the city of Manhattan. He is, forced to be this monster hunter and a wand for hire in order to make, scratch a living. And he's given the chance to get rid of this brand in exchange for him to catch the last mind witch, which is, somebody born every once in a while that has the ability of telepathy and foresight. So, you can imagine the challenges that would create somebody that, is hunting them down, and how difficult that would be.
That sounds awesome. I'm just sitting here thinking in my brain, because my brain's always thinking about crazy things. It's like how perfect really your character would be at some point, because I know that he's doing this a lot right now. Rodney Barnes, Philadelphia. It feels like they're doing a lot of crossover with that character and Blackula, and I just think it's really cool that I was like, well, Philadelphia might be near this other city. Why not?
I know. Oh, that would be something. No, I love Rodney Barnes' work. Him, Jim Butcher. What was I gonna say? What's that one by Kari Randolph where they're Kari Randolph and somebody else? It's from Image. It's the like secret society of people that have wands.
Oh, and you're not talking about the one that's by Mark Millar, then?
No.
Okay.
I can't remember it.
Another magic one.
I'm sure I'll remember it like right after we're done with the interview.
Oh, I know. Right now, everyone, I don't know what it is about it, but like everyone for Image is talking about do a power bomb.
Just do a power bomb?
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that.
Oh man, yeah, it's good for fans of wrestling.
Yeah, I was not allowed to watch wrestling when I was a kid, so I never got into it.
What was that? The Devil's show?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think I was a spastic child, and I think that I was already doing crazy stuff, so I would think that it was not, within the best interest of the household for me to watch stuff that I would get ideas from. That's how it was
worried
explained
that
to
you would
me.
be doing instead of the high ropes dive, like from the
Absolutely.
top dresser drawer.
Yep. I was very impressionable.
So awesome. Okay, so we know what your plans are for Greylock. Do you have other projects that are in the work we should watch out for and put on our pull list?
I do. So not that are, currently available right now. I've got a book that I'm, in the process of pitching and getting a literary agent for and all that. It's called Diary of a Mad Black Monster Hunter. It's this, it's set in the end of the Cold War. It's like this journal of a monster hunter as he like figures out this conspiracy that has to do with people taking control of monsters, and it has sketches of monsters in it as well, like for each short story, journal entry and everything like that. So that's something that's the kind of book I always wanted to see. So that's something that I'm trying to get out there as
So
well.
are you intending it to kind of like blur the line between actual diary and novel?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
love those.
Because I always liked, like you see in like the TV show Grimm, or you see in like other like Monster Hunter like stories, there's always like this huge book of like monster like images and I was just like, I want to read that book. Why isn't that book available to me specifically? So I, created that book.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you in mind? You have to like weather it so it looks like it's actually being used and
Yeah. Yeah. In mind, I have to weather it. I would imagine that when we find a publisher, it depends on how they want to package that. But I would imagine that it'd be pretty easy to package. It obviously have to be hardcover, and then the pages would have to be, I don't know if the how to Train Your Dragon, when it was originally released in the hardcover, it had like the torn like page stuff. Yeah, kind of like thicker parchment paper. That's kind of how I envision it for that one.
But now that you're saying it, I'm envisioning, like those if you go to the Ren Fair and they've got those cool, they make the nice notebooks that are leather bound that just tie. How cool would that be? I'm sure it would be really expensive to make.
That would be super expensive. It would be super expensive. I can imagine the printing for that alone would be just astronomical. That book would be like $50 or something like that, I think.
Oh, $50 is nothing nowadays.
That's true though.
Have you seen Kickstarter?
I have seen Kickstarter. Kickstarter's at least for me, Kickstarter is super intimidating. I don't know why.
Oh, if you want to be unintimidated and want to know how to use it the best, probably Dirk Manning he was the creator that used it the best, the earliest, I think. He makes it look like no big deal. Like I think his last thing funded completely in 5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also makes him go wow.
Yeah, I'll have to look him up and just see what's going on with that, because I know that I got other books that I want to get going, and just making comics is a huge financial undertaking, no matter how you slice it, unless you get unless you're one of those lucky few that can get Image to front you the money beforehand, because I know that that's something they do for some folks, but unfortunately comic publishing doesn't work like regular literary publishing, where they
No
give
one
you
writes you $1 million check and says, "Here, go and write, my son."
right. I mean, at least front you the money for the first few issues.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
It's expensive to make books. No one understands this. It's super expensive.
It's super expensive.
All right. This is everyone's reminder. Go and add Greylock to your pull list, man.
Please do.
You know that you need to read it because it's going to be on a TV near you soon. Be able to see it. You'll know all the inside information.
Exactly. Be one of the cool people that can point to your TV and say, "Oh, that's from the comic," or "Oh, they didn't do that right," or
Yeah, back your eyes. Super expensive, hand caressed pages, bound in leather edition on Kickstarter. As soon as it goes live,
it'll be a hot minute before we see that, but
it's true. All right, we have 3 minutes left in this hour, and we're going to give away something, I think. Hey, producers, are we giving away something? Eli wants to help.
I may help. We'll see.
We are going to have to apologize to everyone. The StreamYard giveaway tool is broken. We're going to have to push it to next Monday.
StreamYard, come on.
StreamYard.
So we thank you all for watching, though, and we appreciate our guests being here, and we appreciate you all being here.
Absolutely. Don't worry.
And was it Excellence? Was Excellence the book you were trying to think of from Image?
It absolutely was.
Okay.
There you go.
You did, Jay.
I didn't have to leave the stream to look it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Eli, for your time. I appreciate you being here so much. Thank you for putting up with my post-COVID brain. Next week, you guys should be definitely here. Stay tuned. We got shows coming up. You get to hang out with the guys at Comic Collectibles, and hopefully all their stuff works. Cool. And run to your comic book shop and grab the last remaining number ones on the rack of Greylock.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
See you guys later. Bye.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.